Now I request Dr. Joseph Ayah, is the President of Center for Human Rights and Peace Advocacy. He is a sympathizer of people of Jammu and Kashmir, well-known human rights defenders. I request Dr. Joseph for his comments.
May their soul rest in perfect peace. Amen. Let's sit down. My dear friend, lastly, I ask you to lead the discussion on the right to self-determination. Because all that we have been saying, from the money to the demonstration and to the wonderful succinct history that Mr. President has just narrated here, leads to one thing: the right to self-determination, which is very important. And so I want us to discuss on the right to self-determination, knowing that this right to self-determination is first and foremost a natural right. Very natural. And as it is a natural right, it has been put in almost all the international instruments related to human rights. And we know that during the First and the Second World War, America propounded this theory, became a theory, and after that became a principle in international law. Propounded the theory because we wanted to recruit allies to fight the First and the Second World War. And the principle simply stated that every people have the right to self-determine, meaning they will determine their political, cultural, and social life. Meaning they will rule themselves. Meaning they will be able to elect their own government. Meaning they will be able to exploit their own natural resources. They will be able to guide what keeps them in the society, contrary to what we have been talking about, state religion. Because when we start talking about state religion, we are talking about the social life. which means we don't determine which religion the state will practice. Somebody else determines. This is what it means, right? The right to self-determination. And so as it was propounded, and it became the principle, the cardinal principle in international law, codified in the Charter of the United Nations, simply stated that all colonized people have the right to be independent. And so after the First World War, instead of granting to many colonial states this right to self-determination, there was a selection of a few states that became independent. And after the Second World War, they further went ahead to increase the number of states that were independent. And in so doing, they simply bundled people, created artificial boundaries, and gave them out to their friends, to their allies, as if they were a piece of cake. This is certainly what happened to Jammu and Kashmir and the rest of the peoples who are struggling to enjoy the right to self-determination. So I want to say that the right to self-determination actually means gaining independence, freeing ourselves from the grip of colonial masters. Today, as we look around the world, we think that people are independent. Indeed, people are not independent. That explains why Pakistan is acting as the colonial master in the Jammu and Kashmir statehood. They're actually acting as even worse than the colonial master. Because they exploit the resources, they exploit everything, and whoever wants to speak is repressed. Is arbitrarily arrested and detained. He is forced to disappear. So they are acting worse than the colonial masters. Because the colonial masters, at the time that it was Britain, they acted with some restriction. Because they granted the people the right to be able to govern themselves. Today is no longer the case. And so we can see therefore that the first phase of the right to self-determination actually means gaining independence. And through this right, many states many colonial people gain their independence. And they are today a state. They do today elections and choose those they want to be governed by. After some time, as time goes on, we realize that the meaning started shifting. In law, the meaning started shifting. It shifted to the second phase of self-determination, which means internal self-determination. The first one was external self-determination, where you actually become a state. And the second one is you self-govern within the territory of an independent state. You self-govern. Meaning gaining autonomy. You gain autonomy without necessarily separating from the main state. And to gain this autonomy means the region can elect their people, call them governor, call them whatever, and they can enact laws that govern them without necessarily touching on the central laws of the the special status, whether it is called special status, whether it is called greater autonomy, need to be recovered. It needs to be recovered. And so the special status of greater autonomy, otherwise known as internal self-determination, is regulated by periodic, genuine, fair, free elections. The moment this is not done, then the people have the right to do as we are doing today. The people have the right to fight. With this issue of special status that the Jammu and Kashmir has had, I would like to plead that Nasi, please, is there a specific text related to this resolution? Yeah. I would like to have it. I would like to have it. Because it is already an executory resolution. Now it is said, even as the people must internally self-determine, there are conditions that will lead the people to go back to the first meaning of self-determination. And the conditions are when there is gross human right and systematic violation of those rights. Yes, today we hear about the sovereignty of the states. And this is always the principle where dictators, you will forgive me, killers, they hide behind the principle of sovereignty. But they forget to know that that principle is not a blank check. There is another principle that is coming up very strong. Unfortunately, Kofi Annan was never given the second chance to implement this because he is actually the one who came up with this and started executing it. The responsibility to protect. You cannot claim to be sovereign when your people are dying. That principle of the responsibility to protect. And in this principle of the responsibility to protect, any other state that becomes a friend to the people can intervene. Different from, I wonder we should know that this is a little different from Article 2, sub 7 of the Charter of the United Nations. Whereas the Article 3, the 2 talks about, sub 7 talks about non-intervention in the internal affairs of the state. Right? The state is allowed to kill its own people. The world cannot stand to see people die of hunger, die of disease, die of dictatorship. And this is the principle that was used in Libya. You understand that Britain directly intervened because they don't want to get into the complexity of these things. The world, realizing that Gaddafi was becoming too strong, they cornered him, set up groups within the state, and they started talking about violation of human rights and touching upon his leadership. And of course, as a good dictator, he and gave the opportunity for this principle to be applied. Britain immediately intervened with the intention of coming to restore people's rights, whereas it was actually a plot to do away with Gaddafi. Sorry to say this, but I just want us to understand how it happened. That the principle of sovereignty of state is not a blank check. When the people's rights are systematically violated as the right of Jammu and Kashmir, it is time we go back to determine. It is time friendly states, states of goodwill, intervene. In that case, you don't pass through the United Nations, you don't pass through any Security Council resolution to do that. You can do it because once there is a systematic violation of human rights, there is always a humanitarian crisis. And when there is a humanitarian crisis, intervention is direct. Because sometimes when I hear the way people are killed in Jammu and Kashmir, I ask, can we, in our struggle, begin to make friends? When you make friends with other states, these are the states that can come in at any time. If I'm saying this because we are actually doing a revolution. And in the revolution, we develop strategy. This is what happened in South Sudan. The people of South Sudan made friends with the US, United States, Britain, France. And these are the people who supported their separation from the rest of Sudan. So people might be wondering how it happened. And they came in through what I have said, humanitarian intervention. The humanitarian intervention does not need a resolution. It's the Security Council resolution for intervention. Whoever is capable to intervene, intervenes. And that's how it happened in Sudan. And that's how, the moment it starts happening, that's how it led to the independence of South Sudan. Even though today they're still fighting among themselves. But I think that the United Kashmir National Party is different. Different because they know what is human rights. They know that when they will take power, they will not give opportunity to infight. Because everyone will told them in accordance with human rights principles. And when you start keeping human rights principles, you have little or no problem. So I want to say that as we move on, let us keep these two things in our minds and work with them alongside, like twins. Wherever we find that it is possible to apply, one, we just apply. If it is possible to apply the first one where you gain your total independence, just do it. And for this one, we must be very diplomatic as to how do I call it? Click and hook on to some independent states that can come in on our behalf. I'm saying it because the International Court of Justice entertained complaints and communication only from member states of the United Nations. No matter how small the state is, they will entertain. And this is the thing we need to start doing. Which states sympathizing with us? Because the difference between Pakistan and Jammu and Kashmir is an artificial boundary, which means that the United Nations can sit on this and determine the boundaries, the original boundaries. So we need the state to be able to come in and help us. No matter how small the state is, they will listen to the problem. The moment they start listening, they will listen also. I would want to say, I admire of all the groups, I'm sorry, I don't want to belittle moving and supporting United Kashmir National Party, I have realized that this is a very strong group. This is a group that can make meaning. This is a group, for sure, the government is looking for. Government of Pakistan. For sure, the international community is looking for. Meaning, you are great soldiers. And I'm thinking very soon of a time where all of us, if I shall so be still living, come back and say, we remember when we were soldiers. At that time, Jammu and Kashmir must have been independent. I shall sing this song. I remember when I was a soldier. I remember when I was a soldier. I remember when I was a soldier. Hippie yap yap, hippie hippie yap. Can we sing? Yeah. I remember when I was a soldier. I remember when I was a soldier. I remember when I was a soldier. Hippie yap yap, hippie hippie yap. And your children will live to remember you as the founding father of a renewed and born Jammu and Kashmir state.